Hey there, folks. We are excited to introduce to you Sweet Pea's new litter of pups. So Sweet Pea here, she kind of surprised us. She's not a very big Vizsla. She's a little bit on our smaller side. And we didn't think she had 9 puppies inside of her. She was hiding them somewhere. I don't know where, but she was hiding them. Looking at her tell me I was guessing 6-ish, but she surprised us and popped out 9 beautiful puppies. So we have 6 girls and 3 boys in this litter. They were born the morning of Friday, July 22nd. Today is, let's see here, the evening of the 25th. So we're about 4 days old at this point. And we're just excited to introduce you to them. So they've been into the vet this morning. They went in and had their tails and dew claws done. So the vet was able to look at them at that point, look them over, and they're just looking great. They're beautiful pups and doing good. As far as the tails and dew claws go, for those who are not familiar with that process, it is breed standard in the United States for Vizslas to have their tail docked. They take 1/3 off of the tip and leave 2/3 of the tail. That's a little bit different. It's a unique length that is kind of unique to Vizslas versus other types of pointers. The reason being is a Vizsla's tail is much thinner than like a lab's tail. And so they can actually break their tails if they're left full length. If they're very active dogs, and if they're running through, outside hunting, they can break their tails running through your house. Just sometimes even, I don't know if you've noticed Sweet Pea, she gets her tail really thumping and she gets excited and happy. Sometimes even they'll just whack them on a corner of your wall, things like that, and can break their tails. And so that's why they take off that tip, take off the thinnest part of the tail. As far as dew claws, again, the reasoning is for the dog's safety as they get older. For those of you who are not familiar, the dew claw is basically a thumb on the front paws. So you can see he's got 4 toes. Actually, this is she's got 4 toes. And then there's a little scab right there where the dew claw used to be. It's basically like a thumb on the front paw. And that is removed again for the dog's safety. Being very active dogs, hunting dogs, field dogs, that kind of thing. Even a lot of people who these are excellent running dogs. Very, very common use for these dogs to be running partners, especially like trail running. They can catch that little dew claw on something and rip it off or break it later in life. And it is much less traumatic to just take it off when they're young. At this age, it's done between ages 3 and 5 days. You don't do it beyond that, and they don't even know it's happened. Their nervous system is still not fully developed. Their eyes are still shut, their ears are still shut. They're still developing their nervous system, so they don't have full sensation yet, and so they don't really even seem to feel it. They honestly just squeal more about having to be held still. They have to kind of hold them a little bit tight to make them hold still while doing that, and that seems to be the only thing that bothers them. As soon as you sit them back down and put them with mama, they don't even seem to notice. So that's why it's done really early on, so that it's not uncomfortable and a discomfort for them, but it keeps them safe later in life. So I am going to reach across here. Adam has weighed all the puppies so that we can give you current information. My brain doesn't work good enough to remember it all. So I'm just going to start at the top so I don't miss anyone. So we will start with Gray. Gray here is, she's eating. I'll gently, if I stick my finger in here and break the section, it doesn't hurt Sweet Pea to pull her off. So Gray is a girl. Mama needs to give her kisses. Oh my goodness, we're going to tell us a story. So here is our Gray girl. She has quite a deep color. Let me compare her to one of the lighter ones. Is Pink here one of the lighter ones? Yeah. So I don't know if, thank you, Sweet Pea. I don't know if the camera can pick up the difference in their coat color. Gray is quite a bit darker than Pink per se. There's just a couple of them in this litter that are a little bit more blonde color. There's not a right or wrong. Vizslas can be anything from strawberry blonde to even a deeper, darker rust than this. Judging from Gray's color, I think her mature color would probably end up similar to Sweet Pea here. A similar coat tone there. But so she's a little bit darker for this litter. And she today weighs 0.74 pounds. And she is solid, meaning she does not have any white markings on her coat. Vizslas can be solid all one color, or they can have markings on their coat, white markings. Anytime you're creating a breed of dog, you do that obviously by starting to mix other breeds together and then selecting the pups that have the traits you're after and then breeding those ones. And several generation process to do that. Some of the breeds that were used to create Bicholas had white markings. So sometimes you'll get white markings on Bicholas. As long as it's on the toes and chest, those are perfectly fine. But Gray here is a solid female. All right, let's move on right here. The baby blue, light blue, you can see the two different blues here. Darker blue is a boy, baby blue here is a girl. Adam said he picked that color because it's his grandma's favorite color, so he put it on a girl. So we will show you blue. Again, she is dark, very similar coat color to Gray. She's very similar in size as well. So Gray was 0.74, blue here is 0.79. Very similar pups. And again, solid, no markings. You can see her tummy, chest, toes, everything's just the solid rust color on our little blue girl. While I've got her, I'll show you. See, their eyes are still shut, but so are their ears. A lot of people don't realize that. Their ears are very small and thick and almost a waxy feel to them right now. As they get older, usually around the 2-week mark, their eyes and their ears open at almost the same time. And that ear canal will open up so that there's a hole and they can hear, but that has not happened yet. And also as they grow, their ears will get thinner and longer, more the adult length that you would expect to see on a Vizsla. All right, so there is our light blue. Our next girl is Teal. Oh, she's right here by my foot. Can you get her? Look how she's got her tummy poking out. That's kind of funny. She is got a full tummy and is conked and happy. All right. The way you can tell if they're sleeping or awake at this stage, since their eyes are always shut, whether they're wiggling like this or conked like this. So we will pick up Teal and show her to you. So here is Teal. Her color is maybe just slightly lighter than Gray and baby blue, but not as light as pink. So Teal here is 0.74, so the same weight as Gray. And she has the very, very, very slightest marking down here in her groin. I don't know that you'll even see it on the, sorry sweetheart, hold still. I don't know that you'll even see it on the camera. I woke you up and now you're wiggly. I know, can you hold still? Right there, there's like 3 or 4 white hairs. I don't anticipate that will stay. I really think as she gets older that the hair in the groin gets very thin on dogs as they get older, and I really don't think that marking is going to stay. So I would really, really guess her to be a solid dog at maturity. So there she is. While I've got her, I will show you the ends of the tails there. It's just from them docking. That's just a little scab on them. That heals up in just a few days, as does the scab on their dew claws, and comes right off. All right, next on our list is Yellow, and she is a little bigger than the sisters we have shown you so far. Come here, Yellow girl. Yellow here is weighing in at 1.05. So she is actually second largest of girls, it looks like. You can see she's got she's quite dark in coloring. And Yellow is also solid. So if we roll her back, you can see there's nothing in her chest, chin, nothing on her toes, nothing in the groin. She's gonna be a solid pup. There's our Yellow girl. All right, next girl. We got lots of girls in this litter. Where is she hiding? I'm looking for Purple. Oh, I see her. She's right under here. Are you latched on? Yep, let's break your section. Okay, come here. Let go. There you go. Here's Purple. She is also dark. She's only a tiny bit smaller than Yellow. She is weighing in at 1 pound exactly. It looks like she's got a little bit of wetness on her forehead. Probably Mama licked her. All right, And she also has the very, very slightest groin marking. Again, I would not anticipate that this is gonna stay. There is seriously like maybe 2 hairs there and 3 or 4 hairs there. I mean, very slight groin markings. And while I'm showing her, I should also explain this scab right here on her tummy, for those of you who don't know. Dogs also have belly buttons. They're not really innies and outies like ours. They heal up and mostly just look like a little scar at maturity. They're not the innie or outie, but they are attached to their mama with an umbilical cord when they're born. And so that's what that little scab there is. So all the pups will have those, and again, just a few days, as the scab heals up and falls off. So there is our purple girl. All right, the last of the girls to show you is Pink, and she is the one we showed you earlier, has the lighter coloring. Her color's just a little lighter than all the others. She is weighing in at 1.19 pounds, so she is the biggest girl. And we'll roll her back and show you that she is a solid pup. She has no markings on her anywhere. So there's our sweet little Pink. Well, our sweet big Pink, I guess I should say. She is our biggest girl. All right, moving on to the boys. Over here, Mr. Blue is conked out. Can I wake you up, buddy? Come here. Mr. Blue weighs in at 1.23. The boys of this litter are a little bigger than the girls. That is pretty typical. Doesn't always work out that way, but it does tend to be a little bit more typical. And Blue is solid. His coloring, I would say, is kind of in between. He's closer to the dark than the blonde, but he's not the darkest in the litter. And if we roll him back, you can see that he is solid. He does not have markings anywhere on him. So there is Blue at 1.23 pounds. Not only is he the biggest boy at this point, he is the biggest puppy of the litter. And that sometimes holds true as they continue to grow, and sometimes, one will pull ahead of another. Just like human babies, they grow at different times, have different growth spurts. So we track their growth, and between now and when it's time to select a puppy, we can by then have a pretty good idea which ones are going to be the bigger ones. And sometimes it's true that the bigger at birth stay bigger, but not always. So there is Mr. Blue. We'll move on to Mr. Brown. He's asleep right here. Okay, Brown is 1.14 pounds. So that puts him as the smallest boy, but really only by a tiny bit. The boys are all very, very close in size. Brown, again, has the very slightest groin marking. If we roll him back, you can see just a tiny bit of white right there, just a few white hairs. Again, these really, really slight groin markings, I can't 100% promise that nobody has a crystal ball, but in my experience, those really slight markings fade and they go away. At maturity, I don't think that would, still be around for him. There is Mr. Brown. And last but not least is Orange. He's nursing right here. You can see he's kind of yanking a little bit. He's trying to get the milk to let down. Most likely another pup has already nursed there, and it's probably empty. When they kind of wiggle around like that, it stimulates mom to make more milk. All right, we'll go ahead and break his suction. There we go. And here is Mr. Orange. Orange is 1.21 pounds, which puts him middle in size for the 3 boys. Color is very similar to most of the litter. He's not the more blonde, he's towards that darker end of coloring. And he is the most marked of the litter, but even his markings are extremely, extremely slight. This is a very lightly marked litter. They're almost all solid, but we will show you. He does have a little bit in the groin. It's a little bit more than the other groin markings, but his is slight enough that might still fade. And then he's got just the tiniest little bit right there on that back toe. that one might fade as well. These two markings are ones that might stay, but they really are, even though he's the most marked of the litter, they really are still very slight markings. And those are two spots that lots of times, if they're white clear up into their foot, like their whole toe, that stays. But lots of times when it's just right around the toenail like that, it fades. So we will just have to watch him and see what he does with his markings. He is very lightly marked. So those are Sweet Pea's 9 beautiful puppies. They're growing good, they're eating good. Sweet Pea is a wonderful mom, very, very attentive. Even during delivery, lots of times during delivery, they're kind of focused on delivering the pups. And so sometimes the pups that have already been born, as they're contracting and getting right ready to pass another puppy, they, are more focused on the delivery and kind of not as attentive to the ones that are already born. But even through all of the delivery, Sweet Pea was paying attention to every single puppy, and I am not joking when I say if they got more than 6 inches from her, she was concerned about that and wanting them right up by her and eating. So she is a very attentive and excellent mama to these pups. So I'm anticipating they will grow really, really well. We've got one that's scooted off here. Let me get this puppy. Mr. Blue's hiding in the corner. Let's get him back over here. I should explain to you this contraption that Sweet Pea is in. This protects the puppies. As you can see, will the camera pick up back in there that there's a pup kind of underneath? So there's a gap. It's low enough that when Sweet Pea lays against it, it holds her out from the board that's underneath. This helps decrease the chance of a pup getting laid on. Sometimes a mom can lay on a little tiny puppy and not even realize she's done it. And they're not big enough for her to feel they're there. They're not loud enough for her to hear them. And they can unfortunately be suffocated. Thankfully, we've never had that happen. But if you do a setup like this, it helps because Sweet Pea can't get clear to that back edge and pin them. If they're in behind her, there's this open pathway that they are small enough to scoot underneath that top and have a path to scoot around. So that just helps keep the pups safe. So that's what this contraption is all about. But yeah, we're just super excited to show these pups to you. They won't be doing a whole lot other than growing for the next little while. They got a couple of weeks before their eyes open, before they can really hear. They'll mostly just eat and sleep and eat and sleep and eat and sleep for the next 2 or so weeks. And then between the 2 and 3 week mark, it's when they start to explore the whole concept of walking, getting up on their feet. They stagger around a little bit, just like a human baby would, learning to walk. And then, once they get that 3 to 4 weeks age, hold on, because that's when life really starts to get fun for them. They've got their eyes open, they're able to move around, they're stable on their feet. They start to explore their world, you start to see their personality. So we'll keep you updated even over this next little bit. But it's really around the, 4 week mark that they really start to be fun and see their personality. Up till then, it's a lot of eating and sleeping, and Mama just taking really good care of them. Thanks for watching, and keep on following the videos as these pups grow.